Hello, I'm Alan and I'm here with the Respect Project to interview my local sporting hero, Emma Kearney. Thanks very much, Emma, for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking.
And I'm just going to ask you a few wee questions.
Yeah, work away.
What was your childhood like growing up?
So my childhood was, I would call it basic but the best. So just in the house in the estate, loads of your friends around you. We used to beat about in the rollerblades. She grew up around there as well.
Yeah.
Do you know Spar, the shop?
Yeah.
So we used to always go down there on our rollerblades, but I would have went in and slipped and all, pulled everything down. So every time we went to Spar, we had to take our rollerblades off at the door and go in. So we got basically barred from Spar with rollerblades. Bikes, whatever the new trend was.
Yeah.
There was like all you had on your phone was listening to music. We never were on the phone or anything, always out playing up in the park. Just really good outdoor, and your grandma was screaming at you to get in for your dinner because you were out playing. I think now you can't get the children to go outside.
No,
you know what I mean?
no.
So yeah, my childhood was just great.
So what hobbies or interests did you have growing up as a child?
So growing up, I was very into music. One Direction, do you know them?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a bit young for One Direction, Ryan.
Yeah.
And also I done Irish dancing for 11 years. So that was a long time. That's how I got really good, strong legs.
Yeah.
And then whenever I was 14, I switched over to rugby. So it is one extreme to another, going from Irish dancing to rugby, but it was great.
Did you have any preference of what one you liked better?
Well, I actually had to leave Irish dancing for rugby, so definitely rugby, but it's two completely different things. A lot of my rugby peers would laugh at me because I would always show up to rugby with the hair and the makeup and the tan and all done. But I got that, from Irish dancing.
Yeah.
So very glamorous, but also very, rough and ready on the pitch. So I preferred both, but whenever I grew up a wee bit, then the rugby took over.
Yeah. And had you any other interests outside of sport as a child?
Let me think. No, going out to play with my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I was very always more routine, go to school, come home, get your dinner, go to your Irish dancing, go out and play. That's it. Very set and routine.
Yeah. What was it like for you transitioning from Irish dancing to rugby then?
So personally for me, it was a big change because you see the thing is with Irish dancing, I find it you're on your own. Whenever you stand on that stage, it's you and just you in competition with these people around you. Where whenever you go to rugby, you're immediately in a team. You feel welcome. If you make a mistake, the whole team makes a mistake. Do you know that way? So it was a big difference being surrounded by team members, and if one of you's lost, you's all lost. If one of you's won, you's all won as a team. Another thing I found was obviously Irish dancing. You've all the pretty dresses, you've the makeup, the tan. Everyone I found was always trying to out-better each other. Do you know what I mean? So and obviously Irish dancing, it's a very, very prim and proper, So I felt whenever I came to rugby, even your confidence, in yourself, because rugby's for absolutely everybody, every age, every size. Just it's the most inclusive sport ever. So when you go from being watched, just dancing, and to go on and being in a team and being included, and there's people all ages, all sizes, it's like night and day. Everybody's welcome in rugby, that way.
Did any of your rugby coaches have an impact on you?
Well, funny story actually. So the first time I played rugby, I went to school in St Catherine's, because it's an Irish school and I'm fluent in Irish, and the way in school you do different segments, so 6 weeks of rugby.
Yeah.
So that was fine. So the coach from Armagh Rugby came, and I fancied him, right? I mean, I was only 14, do you know what I mean? And so we were all playing rugby, and I was trying to beat everybody around me, and he came up to me and he was like, "You should start for Armagh Rugby Club." And I fancied him. I was like, "Yeah, well, I'll be there. when do you want me to go?" And he's like, "It's on every Monday." I was like, "I'll be there on Monday night." So I showed up on Monday night, and that was it, yeah. And also my first rugby coach in Armagh Rugby Club, Neil, you called him, he just, again, kind of like my mum and dad, he just took me under his wing and just put me out there, there was no stopping me. He just gave me every opportunity and just said go for it. It always works out in the end.
Whenever you played for Armagh, how did you then move on to the next level?
So I started playing for Armagh whenever I was 14, and then I actually became captain. Now, funny enough, it's 10 years ago, that's now, so I can't really remember when I became captain, but So I was captain of the team. And then one day we were actually out playing a match, and it was one of my first matches, and I went in and I tackled a girl and she got knocked out. So the sheer panic in me, like I really panicked. And we were all standing in the team huddle. So my coach was like, go on in, that was brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
And this man came over to my coach and he was like, who is that? And he was talking about me, and I says, oh my god, I'm going to get in trouble, here. And I was actually terrified. So at the end of the match, and this man put me aside and he goes, what age are you? And I was like, 14. And he's like, oh. And I was like, why? And he was like, you just have really good potential and all this stuff and all. And then I went over and told my mum and dad about this big man who came over, and I was like, I wasn't in trouble, thank God. And then my coach said, my dad was wearing an Ulster top. And my coach said basically what he meant was, whenever you're of age, you're going to be playing for that team there, and it was the Ulster crest. Yeah.
And what age was it that you had to be to play for the Ulster then?
16, I think.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the under 18s, I think you had to be 16. So I'm pretty sure I started training whenever I was 15, and then played whenever I was 16. And then I played up until I was 19 or 20. 19, 20, I'm not sure, 19 or 20.
Yeah. What's your biggest achievement or best experience during your time of playing rugby?
Biggest achievement probably was playing for Ulster. Yeah. Now the experience mentally, it was definitely challenging because, you know, you're going up to training every week. It's not like playing for your club, you know. Whenever you go to club training, you're there with all your friends and you have your position and all this. Whenever you go up and train for Ulster, you are like fighting for your position, you know. The training is so much harder, so it's definitely harder to do. But my greatest achievement was getting there and actually playing. And then my best achievement was scoring a try for Ulster. I actually scored a try for Ulster. I was that excited that I had a panic attack and had to go to the ambulance. True story. Yeah, really bad, but sure, listen, it's all part of it.
Emma, what was your lowest point in your rugby career then?
Probably whenever so basically whenever you play for Ulster, you have to do 2 or 3 months of like intense training, and then you have all this year for 3 matches, you know. You play Leinster, Munster and Connacht. So I done all the training and then got started on the first match and was having a great match, and then got my nose broken and concussed. So whenever that happens, then, you know, I think it was in the first 20 minutes that happened, and then after you get concussed, that's you, like you can't play any more matches or not. And so I trained 3 months just to play half an hour of a match, and then couldn't play any more games. So that was definitely a hard pill to swallow.
And how did you cope and recover from that injury then, Emma?
Well, whenever you get concussed, it might be changed now, but you have to take 3 to 6 weeks off. Actually, it could be longer, I'm not sure. And it's just one of them things, you know, your health is your wealth. You just have to get on with it and go back to your training for your club and just go again the next year, you know. But again, it's the whole team sport. You have all your team members there. You're still going to show up to watch them and support them, because again, you're not by yourself, you're not alone. It's a team sport. So I still went every week and went and gave the girls the water and all, you know, whenever they needed it, and just supported them. And, you know, if they won, I still won. If they lost, I still lost with them.
Yeah. What made you want to start social media and influencing?
So, well, to be honest, the start of lockdown, one day I was doing my makeup and I said, you know what, I'm going to video this. So I was showing up a product, and the product fell off and dropped into a cup of tea, and I uploaded it and it went viral. Okay, and then that was literally it. And then overnight I was getting like tens of thousands of followers, and then just everything I done, I just videoed it and put it up, you know, with like my family or doing makeup and just having the crack, and then it just blew up overnight. Obviously in lockdown, everybody's in the house sitting on their phone. There's nothing else to do. Do you know what I mean?
Emma, does the pressure of social media ever get too much for you?
Short and simple answer, yes, absolutely. Like there's been days where I'm like, right, I'm throwing the towel in, that's it, I'm just going to deactivate every account, you know what I mean? Especially whenever my baby was born, you know. Whenever you have a baby, like, you're so fragile, and, you know, you're like a shell of yourself for the first 2 days after. And I remember putting the photo up of me and Lee and Annalise, and then waking up the next day and it had 100,000 likes. And I know that sounds like, 100,000 likes, unreal, but no, I was like, 100,000 people have seen my newborn baby. You know, it freaked me out. Like, news articles and stuff had it up, and yeah, so there's days where I'm like, no, can't do it anymore. It comes definitely with a lot of anxiety, but at the end of the day, the pros outweigh the cons, you know what I mean? Like if somebody says something or anything, I'm like, you know, they'll be talking about somebody else in 5 minutes, you know, that way. So it's just at the end of the day, it is my career now, and you have to think of like the plus sides and the negatives, and at the minute the pros outweigh the cons. But like someday if it does get too much or anything, yeah, I just throw the towel in, you know. But it can definitely get too much. But it's just, again, it's all about who you have around you and your support system and knowing who you are as a person, you know. I'm just glad that I am a confident person, and because if there's somebody out there and they're insecure and they're not too sure of who they were yet, and somebody said something to them, like they could very easily believe that and take that on board and like, you know, change who they are. But once you definitely have to have thick skin for being online, and you know, a lot of my followers as well, an awful lot of them are very, very good, genuine people. Some of the best people I've ever met, you know. So again, the pros outweigh the cons, but the pressure definitely gets too much. However, you know, it is what it is. You have pros and cons of every job, you know, that way.
Yeah. So Emma, how do you keep your followers intrigued to keep on following you?
So a big thing that I actually had a lot of pressure with years ago was, you know, how do I keep this up? How do I keep this up? And I remember even saying to myself, like if I do have kids or do all this different stuff, is people gonna like unfollow me or not be interested and all? But one thing that I had to like nail into my brain and remember is that my followers are also growing up with me. So, you know, girls my age, even older people, younger people who followed me 4 years ago, like they're going to be 4 years older, they're going to be maturing, they're going to be in new paths to life, and at the end of the day, somebody always relates to something, you know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like I had a baby, thousands of women have babies, so of course they're going to relate, and it's just about, you know, having your funny side, having your relatable side, but also just being like a comfort creator for people. And you know, stuff I do, I want people to look and say, oh, I do that as well, because obviously Instagram is so picture perfect. I couldn't be like that if I tried, you know what I mean? I put up a picture perfect photo and then I come on and say, just to let you know, that's not really what it's like. Do you know what I mean? So it's basically just knowing that your followers grow up with you, and everybody goes through different things, and somebody's always going to be there who relates to you.
And Emma, do you think that's where your success comes from, because you keep it so real?
Yeah, more than likely, yeah. Do you know, a big thing is being relatable. Like if I'm watching a video and I say, oh my god, I done that, I would like it. Or if I'm watching a video of somebody who looks absolutely perfect and their life looks put together, I'm like, oh sure, here, that couldn't be me. You know what I mean? But like people would approach me and all, and genuinely like they know you. Do you know what I mean? Like they would come up to me and speak to me like, how's the baby, how's this, how's that, you done this, you done that. Like people feel like they know me, but I always say, oh, like you do. Like they would always say, oh, I feel like I know you, and I'm like, but you don't know me. You probably know more about me than you know about your cousin. Do you know what I mean? So it's just at the end of the day, it's just being a relatable, friendly person, and you know, being nice. People's always nice back, you know, that way.
Was it hard opening your beauty shop at the age you were?
Well, you see, in school I done business studies for GCSE and A level, so I kind of had like an idea of business. Also, my dad, he was a businessman, he owned his own businesses, so I always looked up to him, so I always knew I wanted my own place. But I mean, I started out working in a wee salon doing makeup for like £6 an hour.
Yeah.
So I started out, you know, at the bar, but once you get your clients and all, and then in lockdown, actually, I opened my salon in lockdown, so I was 19, and I done an online makeup masterclass.
Yeah.
So, and I think it was like £10 per person, and it ended up making like £1,500, and used that to open my salon, me and my sister. So, yeah, do you know what? See, when you have a supportive family, supportive community, and you have a passion for what you love, it just comes naturally.
Yeah. And you're talking about opening it up again now, aren't you? And getting back in with the makeup and stuff.
Oh, well, yeah, so I just had a baby, so I'm definitely in no rush to go back yet. I'm just doing my online work, but hopefully next year I would like to have a wee salon beside my house. You see, I wouldn't open up another salon again. I had there was times I had 3 or 4 girls working for me, but obviously because of my online presence, people would have come into the shop to see me and they wanted me to do their makeup. So like there was one time I had a girl booked in with another girl in the salon, and she was like, no, I didn't book, I wanted booked in with you. So I came in there, I can't really have people working for me because, well, it actually sounds very vain, they just want me. But I don't mean it like that there, but so I'm kind of very one-on-one now with my clients, and I like it that way. So me and Nick's looking to buy a house next year, so I would like to open up a wee cabin on the side and then just do it there.
If you get any criticism, how do you deal with it?
Well, I think it's just going back to, you know, the same how you open the salon, how you take risks. It's just having a supportive network around you, you know, your family, and, you know, if you're confident in what you do and you know that you're good at that, you know, you just, other people's opinions don't matter, do you know what I mean? You just have to let them at it. I always say, what people say about me is none of my business.
And if you could revisit one moment in your career and change it, what would it be and why?
And change it. Do you know what, that's a hard question, because so far in my career, like, I've been so lucky with the opportunities I have, and I would probably just regret go back and start doing social media earlier than what I did.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. What's the best advice you've been given, and who was it by?
I think it was from my dad. Now, I don't know if I can say the exact thing on here, so if I can't, we can change it. But my dad said to me, if you're going to do something, be shit hot at it. Basically, what it means is, if you're going to do something, be the best at it, you know.
Yeah.
If I like something, I would stick to that and become really good at it. Jack of all trades, master of none. Not really like that, kind of the opposite, you know. Yeah. Pick one thing and just try and be the best at it you can. And that's what I did with rugby and makeup and, you know.
Yeah. What advice would you give to a young person looking to start a beauty business?
A beauty business, I would say, first of all, the beauty business right now is a massive industry. So find your niche, you know, find what you're good at. For example, me as a makeup artist, if somebody came to you and said they want a smoky eye, you can do that. Or if somebody said they want this face for makeup, cut creases and all, you know, I would say you can't do it all. So whatever you're good at, focus on that there. Find your niche and then work off that there. Take plenty of photos, upload it. At the end of the day, if you want your business to be out there, you have to put yourself out there. So get online and just be confident in your business and who you are, and know that you're good enough to do it. And once you have that mindset, you'll be fine.
Who's the biggest influence in your career and why?
I feel like the quote Snoop Dogg says right now, you know, like, I would like to thank me. But I don't mean it like that. Personally, for me, it was just realising who I was as a person, and then my family just pushing me to put myself out there. And do you know what, I'm all about family, like supporting family and just being your best self, you know. Obviously there's all makeup artists, but I can't really think of anybody, just like probably like my mum and dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They inspire me just like to be confident, be who I am. Like, never once have I sat back and be like, oh no, I'm not going to do that because I'm embarrassed of what people think. I'm like, sure, stick it up, but what's the worst that can happen? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm aware you can speak Irish, Emma. Where did that all start from?
Well, Hussy may expect the Gaelic. Oh, sorry, I forgot I was talking Irish. That's so embarrassing. Cut that out. So yes, I started speaking Irish whenever I was 3 years old. So I went to the Nice School in Newry, the Bunch School in Newry, and then there was actually no Irish schools in Newry for secondary school. But my mum and dad wanted us to continue on, so they sent us the whole way to Armagh, to St Catherine's, and I think I was up for the bus 6:30 in the morning, and we didn't get home to 5 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
I say that's desperate, but listen, best thing we ever done, because with being fluent in Irish, I actually got to get involved with a documentary as Gaelic in Irish on TG4, and it was about rugby. So it was basically about playing rugby at a high level while speaking Irish, you know. So it was both of them intertwined. You get really, really good opportunities speaking Irish. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and I'm doing Irish GCSE, so would you have any like pointers, because I'm not fluent, for anyone taking it on?
Well, what I would say is, you see, a lot of people actually ask me that there when you're doing it for GCSE, but Irish for me was basically not my first language, but I did start speaking it whenever I was 3.
Yeah.
So it comes second nature. But because whenever I try and do Spanish and French, I'm the same as you, I haven't got a clue, you know, because I'm not fluent.
Yeah.
But just keep studying, and I always say, as far Burla, or hold on, I cut this out. As far Gaelic Christian a Burla Clishta, and that means it's better to speak broken Irish than it is clever English. So once you get your couple of facal in, that's your few words, you'll be grand.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.